All right, brethren. All right. Man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Creator. I am glad to be here. I know I say that all the time, but there ain't no other way to describe it. It's no other way to describe when all your life you feel like you finally found what you're looking for. And I don't want to sound strange. I don't want to sound kooky to anybody. Let me first of all thank the Creator before I begin, and pray that you brethren will bear with me while I just give thanks for this opportunity to the Creator. And so, Creator, thank you for this opportunity to try to redeem the time while I'm in this reality, while I'm on the earth, while I'm in the body. Creator, I pray that you would allow me to fulfill the purpose that you have assigned to me in this reality. And I pray the same for my brethren, that you would allow us to fulfill the reason why you have put us in the earth and in this reality. And I pray that we can redeem the time, Creator. I thank you for choosing myself and my brethren and giving us this incredible, awesome gift to be able to hear your voice, to be attuned to your voice when there's so many. There's a billion, million, trillion voices in the world, and you allowed your people, your sons and daughters, to be able to attune, to attain to your voice out of the whole world. And we're scattered. You have us scattered, and we are right now in a situation where we're under great darkness, under really great darkness. And so I pray that you will bring Cosmin Day. Cosmin Day that you speak of in the OAHSPE, that day when basically we receive power from on high. And it raises the world's consciousness. It takes the world's attention away from the earth and it focuses on you. I don't know how you're going to bring it. I pray that Saturday is the day that you bring it with the alignment of the planets. I understand that it might not be your time for Cosmin, but I pray anyway. I understand it may come and go and there may be no move at all, but I don't know. We don't know. And I pray that you would give greater understanding on the reason for this rare cosmic alignment so that we can be encouraged. Your people, while we are waiting for our kingdom, we're waiting for our time, and we've been preparing for a long time. Some brethren have been running for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, waiting for our time, waiting for the kingdom. Many brethren coming in this day and age, you said in your word that our numbers were going to grow and grow. You say in the OAHSPE that it's going to cover the earth, and the gathering really only going to pick up. And so I pray for my brethren that that we would remain encouraged, that we would learn, that we would grow, that we would redeem the time, and that we would be a glory to you. And so, Creator, my video helped me to say what you want me to say, to bless my brethren with. Thank you for the time of fellowship. Pray you anoint it, and pray for the soul confirmations that you have shown us to start doing, that you would allow those things to manifest in our spirit, in our mind, our body, our soul. So, Creator, thank you for this opportunity in your name. Brethren, all right. Happy birthday to you, Nazarene Essene. So, how old are you now, brother? See, what, 86? You 86? You 86 years old, brother? Yeah. Yesterday. All right, man. It's good to see you. Nazarene. Got Nazarene up in here. Got Kizzy. Kizzy, there she is. Groovy. I'm going to talk all about her on her lunch break. Elijah, brother. Mahalia. All right, man. And so, brethren, we met Groovy yesterday. I got to tell you, me and the sister talked after I did the video, and it was one of the reasons why I love to minister, man. I love it, man. I had such a good conversation with her, and I knew I was when I found out her vibration. I've always been able to talk to a Taurus. I just really get a kick out of talking with them. They're really down to earth, man, and they let you talk, and then, you know, you should have the sense to let them talk. They know how to have a conversation with you, you know. And I had a real kick, man. I had a blast talking with her, man. Oh, I had fun. She was asking little baby questions. I mean, and I learned off of her. I learned, man. It's like there are many people in the world, and you brethren are spiritual, and you don't even know it. You know? We have many brethren in the world, and they spiritual, and they don't even know it. You know? Now, the tragedy is that a lot of our brethren, sisters, they in deception. I was talking with the sister. She said that her spirit was, her spirit was like, it was really, what's a good word for protecting her? She's under a lot of protection, man. You know, saying how her spirit wouldn't let her do this, wouldn't let her do that, you know, wouldn't let her stay with the Catholic Church, you know, told her to do this and not to do that. And she was still asking me about the Creator and how do you know when you hearing from me? And I was trying to say, sister, you know, I was trying to say, like, you got it, you spiritual. I said, but just right now, you're like a bumper car, you know, you bumping up against this, you know, this guardrail, you're bumping up against that guardrail. You was in the same situation, a lot of faithists are, you know. And I was trying to share with her about the OAHSPE and how basically that's like a guidebook. You know, that's there to settle you down and straighten you out, you know. Settle you, just get you on this path, just stay on this path right here. You already got the hardware. The sister's already got the hardware. She just need to be plugged in, like all of us. You were born with the spiritual DNA, and then during life, you get plugged in. You know what I mean? You get plugged in. You know, we all been playing bumper cars all our life until you get plugged in. There you go. Elijah said, yeah, till you start getting the downloads. See, that's one of, I got to turn this heat off, man. It's burning my leg up. See, I got one of these little small heaters that save money, but it does the job. You see that right there? That little heater. I mean, it nearly heats up my whole, I don't know if you can see it too well. My little heater there, it's about the size. Look at the palm of my hand. Look at that. It ain't, can you see? Let me see. You can't see that. It's the size of the palm of my hand. And this thing puts out a lot of, it puts out a lot of heat, man. And it saves it saved you like $1 trillion. I don't know. I looked at my electric bill and it said, you use 23% less heat. You used 15% less heat. And I had the thing on all the time, And, I got it because they were making a claim it could save you money, and so, that's a magnet for me. So I went and got it. And man, it's a trip. Now I want to make sure I don't mislead anybody. Maybe it heats up my room because of the way I got it set to 90 degrees, and I think the way my room is configured, it holds the heat pretty good. It recycles the air. But anyway, this ain't about that. I just, maybe, I like to share some of those things like that. Maybe you guys might, I might turn you on to something good. I don't know. But anyway, I was the sister, I really learned. It was a great conversation I had with her. And the creator, he really taught me something. Hey, there's Elizabeth now. All right. And you know what? During my setup, I might have forgotten to do something. So let me see if there's some that I need to do that I don't recall doing, where the name of the video is "You Are Like That Which You Study." And I might not have uploaded it. And I'm looking at my list right now. And I don't think I did upload it. I don't think I uploaded the study. No, I don't think I uploaded it. And that's what I usually do when I'm preparing to come on. I'm looking. I don't think I uploaded it. So I'll just end up picking something that I've read already and reading it over again. So it's good. It's cool. It's cool. So anyway, I was talking to Groovy after the video, and the creator, he really used it to bless my understanding. And I enjoyed so much talking with her. And the sister is searching, and she doesn't want to be deceived. And she sounded a lot like Sharice. And incidentally, Sharice is a Taurus too. And they were both sounding the same way. Because remember, Sharice came in and she said that, Sharice was giving a little testimony, and she said one day or something, she just looked at the stars and the universe and the creation, and she said, that's who I want to worship. Whoever made all that, I know that's the one that I want to worship. And Groovy was saying the same kind of thing. You see, nobody wants to be deceived, man. She was questioning the nature of faith, of hearing the Father, and how can we be sure? All good questions, man. Just really good, And I was learning along with her as the creator was giving me things to say to her. I was learning right along with her, because it was like the creator was giving me stuff. I was he was just giving me things to say to her. I knew it because I was listening, and then I just waited for an inspiration, and then I spoke it. And if you still here, Groovy, if you still here, I know you said you're on lunch. Avail yourself of my brethren in the description area. I know you said you don't want to do that. You pretty much, I know how it is with Taurus. They like to, they don't run all around, but I say that so that you can avail yourself of the different types of learning. See, I do it my way. I get on here and I talk about it my way. I talk about the OAHSPE my way, what the creator he gives me, and then I get on here and I like to share it, and then my other brethren, they have different approaches, and the benefit is for you. So you can get a well-rounded opinion, a well-rounded education, a well-rounded viewpoint, a multifaceted perspective of the OAHSPE. See, and then you can, see, you may find there may be a brother or sister that really speaks your language. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm recommending the brethren I have. That's why I have them on my description area. You can check them out, and then they may really plug you in a lot better than anybody else. See, it just depends. We have different flavors. The creator, he's made brethren who he's raising up to speak this light, to give their perspective. It's like he makes this a multicolored garment for your benefit. I'm not saying we perfect. I know that I try. I just speak out of a lot of sincerity and truth, and I share about my journey and, how I've been beat up, and I try to share what I've learned. But overall, sister, talking to you was a real blast, man. It was therapeutic. It was a shot in my arm. Just your childlike questions. And, the sister mentioned, she said one thing I think we all could benefit from. She was, let me see, Nazarene got something here. The born day brother. Let's see what he got here. Okay, brother, if you're heading over to South San Francisco, I'll be waiting on you. I'll get you a cup of coffee. Brother says, on the road right now. Oh, you're on your way to Rialto? Oh, you're going all the way across the country. Good for you, brother. I love going, from east to west. Man, that is the greatest, man. Watching the landscape change, watching the mountains come into view. They start off near the horizon and then they rise up towards the sky. Then you get out there near Arizona and there's a southwestern flavor in the air. Burritos and tacos. Well, vegetarian, because faithists don't eat meat. But anyway, I just enjoy the broadcast, brother. Happy Born Day yesterday. If anybody else got a Born Day coming up, let me know so I can acknowledge y'all. So anyway, I just thank the creator that and the thing, after talking with the sister, I said to myself, you know what? That's what the kingdom is. That is what the kingdom is right there. The beautiful blessing you're going to get from dealing with brethren. Dealing with brethren, it's going to be a blessing. You go out of your house, and I can go over to my Elizabeth's house and, have coffee with her and just get a blast, And then I can go to Mahalia's house, you know, and eat some veggie cabbage. You know, I mean, I'm the kingdom of God, man. You know, it ain't like this kingdom we live in. You know that. Talking with the sister, man, she don't want to be deceived. She don't want to be deceived, man, and I don't blame her. And all of us are like that. And I said, well, sister, you know, there's an element of faith. There's an element of faith that we have to endure. We don't get 100%. There's got to be an element of faith, and then that proves our sincerity. You know what I mean? That proves our sincerity. There's got to be that little element of faith. You know? Hey, Nazarene, where are you going? To that Ford plant out there in Southern California? You delivering Ford engines? Are you delivering engines, brother? Automobile engines. So another thing I learned talking with her is the creator. See, the creator, we've been reading posts and things where the creator, he says things like he talks to your soul. Oh, okay. FedEx. Oh, okay. Oh, you got a good job. FedEx? Tractors? Oh, man. Woo wee. That's a good job, brother. Good for you, man. And so I learned that one of the things that the blessing that faithists are under is when your soul, one thing that I learned, when your soul testifies of the creator, when it testifies of the Father, you know, when you, like talking with the sister, she said, she showed sincerity. Like, all I want to do is know the creator and follow him. I want to know the true God, the most high God. You know, that's the language people use. And I want to follow him. And that's, a lot of people are like that. The thing that separates faithists from the world is that he allows us to hear his voice, in the sense that he gives us the OAHSPE. And it just resonate with us because it's about all that is good and right and holy. It call you out of hatred. It call you out of chaos. The OAHSPE, it calls you away from, you know, you say the word, anything negative, the OAHSPE, it calls you to be your brother's keeper. The OAHSPE, it call you to redeem the time. It call you to, it tells you, we get told about mysterious deep things about, like, how, you know, the reason for our creation and how we have to overcome ourself and what is awaiting us, what our eternity is. I mean, could see 100 years from now, 200 years from now, ain't none of this going to matter to any of us. I mean, all this is going to be over with. You know what I mean? This reality is going to be over with. It's going to be over with. And we're going to be in a place either profiting or not from the choices we make right now. And the creator is saying, like, this is the way to the top of the mountain. This is the way you redeem the time. This is the way you ascend in your spirit. And primarily, I think the danger, the single highest danger that we face as faithists, I think it's deity worship. Now, I could be wrong. If you caught up in deity worship, I think that is a problem. When you're worshiping something and you don't know it's a deity, anything born of a woman, you know, I was talking with the sister as well, and I was trying to explain that, or maybe, I don't know, I think I mentioned it, that all of the, OAHSPE talks about how all the religions, they were, at one point, they were good and anointed. Christianity, Mohammedanism, Buddhism, Hinduism, because remember the OAHSPE talk about Po and Capelia and Moses and Zarathustra, the progenitors of the religions now known as the Beast Kingdom. But they got hijacked. And that's when the religions became the beast and started devouring men. Time for the soul confirmations. Time for the soul confirmations that we do every day, soul confirmations, where OAHSPE talks about the vortexes that the Creator used in creating the world and different creations. He basically sends out a force, a wind, gathers up elements and puts them together, and they manifest in different shapes and forms. But he gets it started with, what's a good word for it's like he gets it started with, see, how does he describe the what comes out of the soul? It's like like when you speak, it's like a wind of force. It's like I can't think of a good name for it. It is a there's a word the OAHSPE uses that I really like. I can't think of right now. It's a ignition of sorts when you speak things out and it gets used to manifest, if you can understand what I'm trying to say. That's why we do the soul confirmation. See, because we're creating through our confirming these things. I don't know exactly 1,000% how it works, but I believe it. You know what I mean? We're speaking these things as a unit. We're doing it together, and by faith, believing that the Creator applies these things to our soul. Our soul is very powerful. It's very powerful. See, we getting it back now. We are preparing. We in a world where people are not preparing, and then gonna wonder why you're left out of the Creator moving on his children. The world is trying to tell us, hey, it's okay. You could just sit there and hang out until the next thing drops. And that's not the Creator. Even if you look at the world, the principle of the world is you have to be proactive towards what you want. You got to bring some sweat equity. You know what I mean? You have to apply yourself. The world is saying you have to apply yourself for anything that you want in the world. But when it comes to spirituality, all you have to do is just say it and believe it and sit back and do nothing. And that's not true. We have to work it, man. You already got the gift of being spiritual. Now we got the word. Now we can be plugged in. It's like turning on a nice light switch. So anybody new to the room, read this here, the left side of the screen. Just read it and read it nice and slow and think about it. That's why we do the soul confirmation. See, we bring in what we read to life. You know, there's a lot I could say about this. Now, I should just go ahead and read this for the reading, because I didn't upload the title of the video. I didn't upload the files. Ye are like that which you study. So I think I'll save that for another day. I didn't upload the files. I forgot to upload the files. So I may just end up just reading this. Just read this over again. Can't hurt. So anyway, the left-hand side of the screen, that'll get you up to speed as to why we're getting ready to do what we're getting ready to do right now. We're going to do the soul confirmation for today, and that's going to be this one right here. It's going to be, now I messed up and did one, I backtracked over some ones that we had already did before, but it's okay. It's okay. It don't hurt to do these over and over and over and over and over and over again. It don't hurt. It don't hurt. Now, we did this one the other day. My soul abides serene. We're going to do this one now. We're going to 3 times together on 3. Say this together 3 times together on 3. We want to apply this to our soul. We're asking the Creator, apply it to our soul, both now and forever. Okay, so on 3 times on 3, we're going to read this one, my soul abides. 3 times together on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. My soul abides in serene power within the center of my mind. Again, 1, 2, 3. My soul abides in serene power within the center of my mind. Again, 1, 2, 3. My soul abides in serene power within the center of my mind. And that's it for today, the beginning of the video, brethren. We're going to do it again at the end of the video. That's how we get that vortex started. Get that force, the force be with you, started. So, hey, Amaris, now we got Amaris in here. See? Hey, Amaris, I saw your post there on Facebook. I want you to take a stab at explaining that verse you're asking about. I want you to take a stab at it first, because I don't want to influence you with what I think it's saying. See? I want you to take a stab at it, and then I'm going to jump in and tell you what I think it's saying. And then you decide what you think, how, what best ministers to you. See, from what I understand, we as faithists, it's not like you're right, I'm wrong, or I'm wrong, you're right. The Creator, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like the Creator, he's very careful to, it seems when you read, he doesn't want us trying to rule over one another. You know what I mean? Like the world, the first thing they want to do is they find a way to give themselves authority over their brother. And you get your own mind taken away that way, to where you can't think, you can't have your own thoughts without wondering if it's going to offend somebody, or if you're going to be in line with what, the Creator, he wants you to express yourself. See, we're free, man. We don't have to come up under any type of bondage anymore. See, it's just like when I was talking to Groovy. I was trying to share that we're afraid to have our own mind. We got to clear it with somebody else. Is it in line with the doctrine that we believe in? Because we say we're one group of people, and does everybody else agree with this? If not, then I won't say it. The Creator, he's not, it don't sound that way. You read the OAHSPE, it's like your thought, that's just as good as anybody else. He wants you to express yourself. He wants us to, just because I get on here and I share things, it don't mean I'm right, Your understanding is just as good as mine. We live in a reality where the powers that be want you to stay in a state of subjugation. See, the Creator, He giving all that back to us, where you're allowed to think on your own. Creator says He's right there in your soul speaking to you. And you have to trust that we get the inspiration that we need. If we can learn to listen, just listen. Listen to what He done give us, the soul. Learn to listen to it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to learn to listen to the inspiration of the angels, inspiration of the Creator. And we live in a world where people, they need somebody to tell them this or tell them that. And I think the Creator, He says, for a while, he allowed it, us to be under teachers and tutors. He even says in the OAHSPE that the Creator, He says that He'll help the helpless, people who are, disabled or they're afflicted one way or another. The Creator said, I'll help them. I'll help them. And He says He'll help us too. But there comes a point where we got to, it's like where it's just like in the world. You have children, they grow up and then they get to a point where you say to them, all right, now it's time for you to fly. Omian. Now we got Omian up in here. Man, brother, I wish you would come on and give a word, man. I wish you would just come on and give it. Let me put the link in the room. I don't want to force you though, brother, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, brother. I didn't get that thing you sent me about when I was telling you about that post in the room and you replied, but I think you might have deleted it, and then deleting it, you deleted your response to me. So I never got it. That's Brother Omian, man. Those are, see, here are his rooms right here on Facebook. These are his rooms right here. There's one right there where you can click on the, he's in the description area too. Let me see, I might have clicked off on it. Hold on a second. I gotta check my screen here. I think I booted myself off. No, I'm still here. Okay, you deleted it? Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sharing. Okay, yeah, I didn't get it. So here's one of his rooms right here on Facebook. And it's in the description area. You can send a friend request, anybody who wants to join, and then you can have fellowship with us where we just try to share. There's one of his rooms, and here's his other room. You brethren who are here for the first time, you new to this video right here, and you're on Facebook, you can go here too. And just send a friend request, and then he can bring you in, and then we can have fellowship together, where we just try to post things and from the OAHSPE and encourage one another and help each other to endure as we wait for our time to come. See, Omi says, I ponder sometimes, what is the difference between soul and spirit? I think that the difference is that the soul, if I can put it in earthly terms, let me see, the soul is like the engine and the spirit is like the ignition key. Does anybody here agree with that? How would you, brother, describe that? That's a good question. The soul is like the action, and the spirit is like the will. Like, see, I think the way it works, according to my highest light, in the world, we're subject to many influences. Our spirit picks it up it deciphers it and sends it to the soul as to what we should do. And then the soul causes movement and action. I could be wrong. I'm just trying to say how I internalize it. His question here, the difference between the soul and the spirit. I know the Creator says that that's where He is, in our soul. And then the spirit is like it's like the thing which causes the soul to move in one way or another. Like you see something, you internalize it, and then the soul acts upon what the spirit internalizes as to which way to move. If that makes sense. I don't know if anybody, if whatever you brothers share what you believe. I'm just trying to explain what I think the difference is between what the soul and the spirit, what the brother has there. So before I go to the reading, and I think, let me see, I'm trying to decide even as I'm talking. I did not upload the files to Year Like That which you study, so I'm gonna have to do that again tomorrow, or I forgot to upload the files to Year Like That which you study. So I'm trying to decide what do I want to do for the reading. I don't know. I'll make a decision as I get closer. So what I could do right now is go to my room, and then the room that I have on Facebook, and just share some verses real quick. Some verses, some things that I have posted. I like to post in the room here. And so let me that's my room right there. There's my contact information. And I prefer that you would have fellowship in one of Brother Omian's rooms, because mine is real small and it's not very responsive. But I still will post in there from time to time. And so a couple of verses that I can share, or actually let me post, because sometimes I post in some rooms but not others. So let me go. Never fails, man. Whenever I'm doing a video, I get them calling me. All right, so let's look at some verses, some things that I posted in one of the rooms here on Facebook. Here's one where it says, whoever does not practice the higher law, this kind of a harsh verse, man. Whoever does not practice the higher law will not escape the tortures in hell. Man, that's kind of harsh right there. I should have provided more context. But whosoever lives the higher law will pass on to nirvana. Now, I want to say something about this real quick, man. Hell is a choice that people make. It is of their own free will that they make that choice to go to that level, is the best that I could say about that. It says, but whoever lives the higher law will pass on to nirvana, where dwell gods and goddesses of endless light. And brethren, we can't even imagine what that's like. But we know that it is out of this world. We all know it. That's what keeps us going. That's what keep us chasing the Creator. That's one of the things, because we all want to dwell there. This place that we don't know about, but we know it exists. Here's another verse where it says, 3 doctrines have been, are now, and ever shall be on the earth. They are, first, the faithists, who know the all person, Jehovah, ever present, the all person ever present. Let me read that again. It says, 3 doctrines have been, are now, and ever shall be on the earth. They are first, the faithists who know the all person ever present. Second, the idol worshipers who make the creator into a man in heaven. See, that's important right there. Idol worshipers who make the all person, make the creator, they make him a man in heaven. And not present, but by proxy of certain laws. In other words, they call the creator laws, statutes, and commandments. That's what they call the creator. And third, infidels who believe in nothing they cannot take up in hand and weigh. So they cannot walk by faith. They have to walk by sight. And the creator, he calls them infidels. And then here's another one where it says, the faithists beget faithists. Faithists beget faithists. Idolaters beget idolaters, and infidels beget infidels. For these 3 conditions are only outward manifestations of the spirit within. Isn't that interesting? The type of spirit within, faithists, idolaters, and infidels, they act on the influence that's in them. That's the only way you can explain why there are people who subscribe to the beast kingdom. I mean, we got the beast in us too. There's the beast influences that we have in us. That's what we're trying to overcome. And then there's the beast kingdom in the world, the system, religion. And so the creator here, he says that people, they manifest according to the spirit that's within them. So it's basically like what their mind gives them, tells them how to internalize the information coming into the mind. And then the spirit, the spirit feeds that to the soul, and the soul produces the action. If I am saying that correctly, the infidel is nearly devoid of spirit. It says the infidel is nearly devoid of spirit. It says the idolater has 1 grade more spirit. There's a merit. So it says the infidel is nearly devoid of spirit. The idolater has 1 grade more of spirit. But the faithist has spiritual ascendancy. How do you like that? It says the infidel is he nearly has no spirit. So he's like an unwalled city almost. He don't have no guardrails up. He's liable to do anything. He's nearly devoid of spirit. It says the idolater has 1 grade more of spirit. He's a hair above the infidel, the idolater. These are people who are unable to ascend. I mean, they're unable to listen to, they're unable to attain to the voice of the creator. He calls them an infidel or an idolater. An infidel or an idolater. And here's another verse. It says, and those of the spirit believe, but those of the flesh disbelieve. And so that's like another thing right there. If you want to know if you are spiritual or you're deceived, I'm convinced, many people in the world, they spiritual, but I believe there's a great deception over people who are spiritual. A lot of spiritual people who are deceived. And so it says here, and those of the spirit believe, but those of the flesh disbelieved. And I think that in our day and age, we have the OAHSPE, and it's not going to be received by a lot of spiritual people. I have to think that the flesh has got something to do with that. I think that we live in a situation where people can be tied to the beast religion to the point where, you know, they can't hear, they cannot attune, they cannot attain to the voice of the creator. Now a good example of that is a video, that video that I remember seeing when I first came into the OAHSPE, of the brother who, you know, how in the Bible it talks about sacrificing your son. I forget what story that was concerning Abraham and Isaac, I think. And they put the question to the brother, would you kill your son or your child if God told you to? And the brother said, yeah. And brother, I know, is spiritual, but he's deceived that he would do such a thing. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that, because it says those of the spirit believed, but those of the flesh disbelieved. So if the creator comes and he is coming in a word and you can't receive it, then it sounds like when you read this verse that you're not of the spirit, because you won't believe it. And those are people who they belong to the flesh. But the faithists are going to believe when the creator, he gives a word, is the best way that I can understand this verse. Here's another one. And so it came about that the people were admonished by God and his angels and by Jehovah, speaking in the souls of mortals. And so again, Creator saying that he speaks to our souls, speaking in the souls of mortals. He speaks to our souls. And so it's like now it's saying we have to learn to listen to our soul. And that's not easy. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, listening to that voice, that inspiration, I have found in my reality, that's pretty, it takes some work, man. I think there are a lot of influences that impact us. And so when you try to, this is a really tough one to try to explain. I hope that I'm getting better so far as trying to listen for the leaning of the, how the angels, my ashars, how they trying to influence me to learn to listen to my soul. The creator says that's how he speaks to us in the souls of mortals. Here's another verse. It says, but you shall come out from among them and be a separate people, in the world. Talking about faith this again. Now, these verses here, again, I'm not providing any context. I'm trying to post these verses without any context, thinking that we can read what we read here and we can get some understanding out of them. It says, and thus it had come to pass that in Jehovah's kingdom on earth, man was without a government such as man's government. And then in addition to that, I posted, and this was the next higher condition that came upon the earth after republics. So it's saying that after the form of governments that man has used historically, after that comes Jehovah's kingdom on earth. And so right now, the time that we living in right now, this form of government, they call it a constitution. They call it different things, a constitutional republic, a democracy, and it goes along with man has been given like only so many forms of government. There's tyranny, there's aristocracy, there is democracy, and that's all the type of governments that's been given. That's been the evolution of how those have been the forms of government that has been given to him. That's it. It's like either when you look back, you see it's either been tyranny or aristocrats. And I think another one is an oligarchy. They call it an oligarchy, where rich people band together and they get their interests served by the powers that be to the detriment of the population. And that's probably the best description of the government that you brethren live under, is a oligarchy where rich people, they are benefiting and their needs are getting served rather than the needs of the people. And it comes at a time where we're in the cosmic era right now. Pluto has gone into Aquarius. That represents the turning from the kingdom of men to the kingdom of the brotherhood of men. Let me see. Elijah's got something here. Oh, Mahalia, I didn't see. You guys have been posting stuff. Let me see. Mahalia says the difference between soul and spirit is really pondering for me. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Wondering. Thinking. I think one involves, let me read what Elijah's got first. He says, soul is a personality. Soul is a personality. The spirit is the light body of the soul from studies. Okay, I see what you're saying too. Beyond the soul is the essence of the creator, that pure essence that makes the soul eternal as well as an endless link to the creator. Yeah, I think, and that's in short, the spirit tells the soul what to do. To make it simple, I think the spirit, it tells the soul what to do. It's like the influence hits us, the inspiration hits us, and then the spirit wills to do something, and then the soul follows the spirit to do it. See, because the creator, he kind of, if I'm not mistaken, he pictures him, he describes himself as he says that he serves us, our desire, and he grants it. That's what it says in the OAHSPE. He doesn't violate our free will. We can't understand that. So it's like he is like, you have to get the picture like the creator is the soul, but he brings to pass what comes to your soul from the spirit. It's like when you move your hand or you move, say like you see me on the screen, I'm moving my hands, okay? It has to enter into my spirit first to do that. If I'm not mistaken, my spirit has got to say, okay, move your hands. I move my hands. My soul allows me to move my hands. That life that allows me to do that, it comes from the creator. If you can understand what I'm saying, you know, the will, the will influences us. You know, like say in the world, they'll use expressions like spirit. You know, he had spirit, meaning he had a degree of movement or manifestation. And so the soul is the initiating thing, you know. I mean, I'm just trying to harmonize with what I've read in the OAHSPE. The creator says we like the soul confirmations that we're doing. It deals with the power of the soul. Creator, he says things like he speaks to the soul. You know, we just read that. And when you look at the spirit, the spirit is like the match that causes the action. Now, I could be wrong. I'm just trying to give some idea of how I understand these things based off of the things that I have read in the OAHSPE. There's spirit and there's soul. Actually, you know what? I could ask AI. I could ask AI, man. I forgot. Oh, I'm late for the reading of the word, too. Doggone it. I'm late for the reading of the word. Let me ask AI. That's a good question. Omi's question this seems to be getting the attention. So let's deal with that for a second. Let me ask AI. Let's ask AI. What is the difference between the soul and spirit? Let's see. What will AI say? This is pretty interesting. Okay, I got an answer. I'm going to post it in my room so we can all read it together. Okay, he gave me the answer. I'm in the process of posting it in my room right now. Oh, let me see. Okay, this is the answer I got. So let's read it together. It says, what is the difference between the soul and spirit? Let's check it out. It says the document makes a distinction between the concepts. So there is a distinction. There is a distinction between the soul and spirit, is what it's saying. It suggests that the soul is a deeper essence of an individual that becomes separated from the corporeal body upon death, having the potential for growth and development, particularly through experiences and actions taken during life. Well, I think that represents the spirit right there. Experiences and actions taken during life. I think the spirit interprets and the soul obeys the spirit. Now, I could be wrong. I'm just offering that. It says the soul is linked to a broader spiritual existence and understanding. Okay. The soul is linked to a broader spiritual existence and understanding. It says, in contrast, the spirit is described as a more immediate and active manifestation in one's essence. So, okay, so I think this is going to say the spirit is action. It says, in contrast, the spirit is described as a more immediate and divine or a more immediate and active manifestation of one's essence, which can engage in communication and interaction with others, both living and deceased, through spiritual means. It says the spirit exists in a state that can perceive and receive wisdom from the Creator in the spiritual realm. Okay, I can dig that. I can dig it. That makes sense. It says, moreover, the text implies that the soul is not bound by corporal senses. As indicated by the line, the corporal lead the spirit, nor the spirit the corporal. But Jehovah does all. Then it gives us a reference. And the reference, I didn't post the reference. The reference, it says, it's out of the corporal things, the new thing is produced and born into the world. So out of Jehovah is born. Well, let me post it because I should. 14:1:8. 14:1:8. So this is the reference that the explanation is giving us to look at. 14:1:8. 14:1:8. This is a reference on the difference between the soul and the spirit. If I can ever get to it. 14:1:8. Okay, so here, let me post. Okay. Okay. Now, this is the reference that the highlighted part, it gives you those 3 numbers there. It's saying post, is saying look at this reference right here. So here's the reference. And let me see. It's book 14 of the OAHSPE, chapter 1, verse 8. It says, out of corporal things, a new thing is produced and born into the world. Okay. Out of corporal things, a new thing is produced and born into the world. So just like, say, 2 people have a child, I think you can use that as an analogy. Corporal things, as out of corporal things, a new thing is produced into the world. So out of Jehovah is born the spirit of man. Neither does the corporal lead the spirit. Oh, so it's saying, OAHSPE is saying the corporal does not lead the spirit, nor the spirit the corporeal. Okay. It says, but Jehovah does all. Okay. So Jehovah does all. He's both the spirit and the soul. Now that is really deep right there. Does anybody understand that? It says, do not think then that when the corporal body is dead and molders back to original elements, that similarly the spirit of man will resolve itself back into Jehovah. It says, don't think that. It says, for spirit is not bound by similar rules. As the corporal body grows by aggregating to itself, not so grows the spirit of man, but by the opposite, which is giving away. So it's like the way I understand it, the creator is behind both the spirit and the soul. They have different functions in the sense that the soul is eternal. And the spirit, it goes back to the creator. And then it gives an example of the way both operate. The corporal body, it grows by aggregating to itself. And that could be like, serving or gathering to itself. And then it says, but the Spirit of God is not like that, but the opposite, which is giving away. So now, to be honest, I'm kind of confused. I'm kind of confused now because it's the soul. What is the role? Where's the? It's not really telling us about. I think I have to look at more verses. Let me read more about what AI had to say about the difference between the soul and the spirit. Maybe it'll clear up something. I guess I'm not going to be getting to the reading of the word. Inspiration seems to be leading me to look at this. So let's look at it. Let's dig into it. It says, moreover, the text implies that the soul is not bound by corporal senses, as indicated by the line, the corporal led the spirit, nor the spirit the corporal, but Jehovah does all. This suggests that the soul has a more profound connection to the Creator beyond physical existence. So while both the soul and spirit play essential roles in a person's spiritual journey, they occupy different realms of existence and function. The difference could also be emphasized in the terms of their roles. The soul is associated with the eternal aspect of existence and the learning journey throughout. Now, this is where you got to watch AI, man. See how it mentions reincarnation? That's where you got to watch it. Got to watch it. Got to translate it. Because that word should be through ascension, if anything. That shouldn't be reincarnation. You brother know that, I'm sure. It says, while the spirit relates more to immediate experiences and expressions of consciousness in corporal and spiritual interactions. So it's making a distinction between the spirit and the soul, where you respond, like when you respond to immediate stimuli or external inspirations, is saying that that's the spirit kicking in. But expressions, it says the soul, let me go back to it. It says the soul is associated with the eternal aspect of existence and learning journey throughout. The ascension is what that word should be, not reincarnation. So it's kind of like the soul is a tape recorder and the spirit is the press play button. Kind of a, weak way to describe it. It's like the spirit is like the influence, and then the soul is like the recorder. The spirit is more like the influence, but you, brother, had to decide for yourself. I'm just trying to give you an idea from which to bounce off of, your conclusion off of. If you were to ask me, I would say that they play a role where the spirit is how we decide the action to be taken and the soul implements it, because we have free will. Creator, you don't force us to receive, to force us to seek, to attain to his voice. It's really our free will that makes us gravitate to doing stuff like this, trying to learn, trying to grow, to ascend and elevate. It's really the product of our spirit and our soul. It's like our decision to do it. And so the spirit influences the soul to move and act in one direction or the other. The way the understanding that I have is that we live in a world. The world has a lot of influences in it. It's got a lot of inspirations. You choose which one you want to come under, what decision about how you're going to internalize one thing or another, and then it comes out in the soul. But what do you, brethren, think? Does anybody have something you want to add to this? I'm just trying to share what's in my mind, what I think. Omi, and he brought out this question, difference between the spirit and the soul. And so I think that I won't be doing the reading. I think that this is the thing that is that the creator wants us to look at. It seems like I'm going in that direction. Hey, Sharice and Yaffa. All right. We here slugging it out with a question that the brother asked in the room. Spirit and soul, roles and functions of it. How do we understand the difference between the two? So it seems like we slugging that out for today. So I don't know. That's the best I can do with that. I think that there is a difference. The doctrine makes a distinction between the concepts of soul and spirit. It suggests that the soul is a deeper essence of an individual that becomes separated from the corporal body upon death. So anyway, you brethren can read that. That's the best I'm gonna do with that. I don't want to confuse anybody, man. That's a subject that's got to be taken. It would, but see, that's where if we get together and we talk about it, then we can come. I think it's important to know that so that we can know how to think about our soul and our spirit. And I think it'll have something to do with how we can minister to ourselves. I mean, I look at it like my spirit, it teaches me to be careful of what inspirations I give myself over to, knowing that if I give my spirit directs me to do this or to this or that, then my soul is going to follow. The soul, it represents the action that comes from the result of the spirit, the will of the spirit, the motivation. The spirit is motivation, the soul is action. Trying to simplify it. Let me read. You guys have been posting stuff. I'm behind. See, Yappa says, I've not gotten any proper. Or let me see. Go back up further. See, Cherie says, everything has spirit. Only humans have souls. Let me see. Go back up further. See, Yappa. I love studying. Let's see. Omi wants a link to a video. Cherie says, everything has spirit. Only humans have souls. Ah, that's interesting. That's interesting. I'd have to read something. Do you have anything we could read, Cherise? Everything has spirit. Only humans have souls. Because soul is knowing, and animals do have that. The Creator said he gives it to them even at birth. He says he gives an animal a sense of knowing even at birth, and humans don't have that. We have to learn empirically. Animals do not. Did you know that? That's what the Creator said. See, Yapa says mind, soul, and spirit. Omi says, I have not gotten any proper explanation since my faith this lifestyle. Okay, so he's saying that he's been struggling with this ever since he became a faithist. Difference between the soul and the spirit. Interesting. Yapa says, or is it mind, body, and soul? Let me see. Cherie says humans have soul and spirit. Elizabeth says we keep spirit and soul, I guess. And then Omi says, Yai Club, you notice I never did a video about a soul. Yeah, well, you did a few videos though, bro. You know, I don't think I have either. I mean, I think I've always had the type of understanding I have about it, that the spirit is one thing, the soul is another, that the spirit influences my soul. I've always felt like the spirit influences my soul. I think the soul has more to do with consciousness. I think that spirit has more to do with influence. So you got influence, then you got consciousness, which is the soul. The Creator says that he speaks to the soul, and that's where action comes from. Let me see. Shri says, I was thinking that too. I don't know what you mean, what you were thinking of. Let me see. Elijah says, it's called Daryl Cosman, The Science of Consciousness from Honor and Humility. Okay, so I guess that's the name of the video. And then Mahalia says, I'm going back to look on Honor and Humility's videos with Daryl. Okay, so I'm not doing a good enough job of trying to explain. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just trying to answer the brother's question. And I'm sorry I'm not able to give a good, concrete enough answer about the difference of the soul and the spirit. Maybe I can sit down and do a study on that and see if I can give like a good, clearer answer of to answer his question. I mean, I the way I look at it, I think just like with what AI said, they're two distinct things. I think one has a function, the other one has a function. You know, I could do a word search too, real quick. Let's do a quick word search. That's fun. Do a quick word search. Let's do a quick word search and see what some verses have to say. Let's do soul first. Let's look at soul. Let's look at some verses on the soul. Let's see what it says. This ought to be a load of fun. Check this out. Let's see what it says. This is what's fun about the OAHSPE, man. You know, let's look at it. Let's see if we can get a greater understanding of the soul. And then, well, we about out of time. So give a couple minutes to the soul and give a couple minutes to the spirit. And let's see what happens. Okay, now the first mention, it says, and in the stirring up a man's soul, Joey spoke through his sons and daughters, just like what we read in the post that AI gave us. The Creator, he speak through the soul. And in the stirring up of man's soul, Jehovah spoke. So he stirs up the soul here. It says, his voice came up out of the marsh down from the heavens above. Okay. And the children of men heard and saw and rose up because of the spirit in them. So we got both the soul and the spirit in this verse right here. Now, what can we learn? What can we learn? We got the stirring up of the soul, all right? So Jehovah, he stirred up man's soul. He says, and in the stirring up of this man's soul, so Jehovah, he spoke to man's soul through man's soul to his sons and daughters. And in the stirring up of man's soul, Jehovah spoke through his sons and daughters. So the sons and daughters manifested what Jehovah spoke. Jehovah, in the stirring up of man's soul, he spoke through his sons and daughters. So it's like the thing that comes to my mind is you get someone, they decide to do something because they heard from Jehovah, and so the sons and daughters went out and did it. So he's pointing to, he says something, he gives an action, or he says something, he spoke, he stirred up man's soul, and then the sons and daughters, they manifested what Jehovah spoke. If I'm not mistaken, if you brothers see, I got the link here, man. See, this is where you brethren can come on, man, and give your understanding. Don't just rely on me. I'm not saying you brethren are relying on me, but see, this is where if we get together and we all, we can have a panel, we could bring up a subject, and then we can talk about it. And it's not like one brother has to be, you can subscribe to what your best light. You can get more understanding by listening to different brothers. They say, well, I think this, and another brother says, well, I think that. You know what I mean? And then we all learn that way. See? That's why I like to try to get different brethren, come on, and then we just talk at certain times and we talk about stuff like this. Then we all learn. It says, his voice came up out of the marsh and down from the heavens above, and the children of men heard and saw and rose up because of the spirit in them. Well, because of the spirit in them. So he speaks first, and it stirs up man's soul, right? And the sons and daughters who hear Jehovah speak, it says, and in the stirring up of man's soul, Jehovah spoke through his sons and daughters. So let me see, what's the way to translate this? You can say it like, Jehovah stirred up man's soul, and his sons and daughters spoke what he told them. How do you like that? Because that goes along with other verses we were looking at, like earlier today where we read Jehovah, he speaks to the soul. But I think the spirit is being left out of that. But it addresses the spirit right here. It says, his voice came up out of the marsh and down from the heavens above, and the children of men, they heard and saw and rose up because of the spirit in them. So how do you translate this reading right here to make it make even greater sense? They had a spirit in them, see? They heard because of the spirit in them. His voice came up out of the marsh and down from the heavens above, and the children of men heard and saw and rose up because of the spirit in them. So up top, at the beginning of the verse, he stirs up the soul of the sons and daughters, and he speaks through them. And here, the children of men heard and saw because of the spirit in them. And they responded, who is Almighty? And their voices were called Te. Now, Te, from what best way I can describe that is Te is the spiritual man. Te is the um, highest man. So I could say I could say something like this. And in the soul of the faithless, Jehovah spoke. The faithless heard and saw and rose up because of the spirit in them. I could say that. They responded to him. See, not everybody's going to respond. They responded to him who is almighty. And their voices were called Te. So Te is explaining as we go on the things that Te he asks, he questions about this and that, Let's look at some more verses real quick. Let's read this and then look at some more verses and see if we can get some more understanding. And their voices were called Te because as it is the universal word of all children born. So it represents the universal prayer of man, humankind. Okay, so Te is the universal word of all children born. Te is representative of the universal prayer of mankind. So now we go down, we read the things that Te is asking the Father, things that he wants to know. And these are questions that we want to know. We would ask him these type of questions here. Not going to get into it right now. We're going to try to look at some more words on the soul and the spirit. See if we can get a greater understanding on the difference between the two. Right now, it seems like here they're synonymous with one another. The soul and the spirit, the creator, he uses both for his own purposes. He uses both the soul, he uses the spirit. Not much difference we can see between the two right now reading this. Let's see if we can see something else. Here it says, Te said, reveal, O Father, give me light. I see wide earth, the sun, moon, and stars, but the great vault of heaven appears to be just an empty sky. Where's the dwelling place of the dead, the place of the souls of men? So you read this account here, and he's going to be asking questions that you would ask, that you want to know. I think that your soul, whether it's your soul or your spirit that prompts you to want to know these things, I think is what we're debating right now, or not debating, but what we're trying to determine right now, when the answer could be they're both just synonymous with one another. It may be one of those things we can just never really pin down how they work together, can only speculate. Right now, we only looked at a couple of verses and they just seem to just be synonymous, with one another. And you could read where it says the soul here and it says the spirit there, and you get the same idea no matter which word you use. They're kind of synonymous with one another. Let's look at some more verses, see if we can get some more understanding. Here it says, Te said, yet not even half is answered, O my Father in heaven. Since you have proved the immortal life, you have stirred me to my soul's foundation. Where do these inhabitants of the unseen world come from? Where lies this heavenly footstool of your majesty? His soul is stirred, and it produces questions. Why could it have not hit? My spirit is stirred, Let me see. Omi's got something else. He says, that was my final take. Soul and spirit is the same thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you got something, brother. I think you got something now that we looking at it, synonymous with one another. That's what it seems to be when we read here. We looking at these things. Here it says soul, but why can't you put spirit? You have stirred me to my spirit's foundation. See? That could be synonymous, couldn't it? Let's look at another word. Let's see if we can get some more fruit. For you have quickened me to rise up above the tales of the ancients and to demand knowledge from your throne. by you, my soul is moved to this magnificence, and only your magnificence can satisfy your son, daughter. See? And actually, that's what Sharice and what Groovy were saying in their testimony. Only by your magnificence. That's what their testimony was, really. See, they are like Tay. But here it says, my soul is moved. So our soul, it moves us. We can say the same thing about ourselves. Let me see. Sharice got something. She says, does all have soul, but animals don't have spirit? Or does all have soul and spirit? Good question. Good question. Oh, you know what? I can ask AI. That can get us jump started. I can ask AI that question. Let me see. Matter of fact, I can ask Omian's question too. Well, I did ask Omian's questions in a sense. I could do it again though. Let me see. Let's ask Sharice's question to AI. Let's see what type of response that we get. Oh man, it's about time for the end of the video too. Do animals and people do animals have soul and spirit? How about if I ask that question? Do animals have soul and spirit? Let me see if AI can help us. Let's see if AI can help us. Do animals have soul and spirit? Do animals have soul and spirit? That's a good question. Do animals have soul and spirit? Let me see. Omi has got something. He said animal got a spirit and dwell in heaven for a season. Yeah, I remember reading that. But see, let's see what this AI here says. Now, let me put it in the room so we can read it better. Now my computer is freezing. It don't want us to know. It's trying to mess with me now. Man, I should have picked this. Let's see. Okay. Do animals have soul and spirit? Let's see what it says. It says, according to the document, animals do have a spiritual aspect, but their nature and experience are depicted differently than those in human. The text indicates that animals, like all living things, have a spirit which is connected to their corporal existence. And it says, all things alive have two parts, the corporeal and the spiritual. So all things alive have two parts. Let me see. Cherie says, but not a soul. The creator is in the soul of all. But here it says all things alive have two parts, the corporal and the spiritual. All dead things are but one, which is the spirit. And then it gives us a reference. Now, the reference is going to say the same thing, so I don't really need to go. I mean, I could for context sake. Let me read this. It says, it is stated that the spirits of animals have a designated time on, that's what Omi was saying. Yeah. And after death, there is a place for their souls, or there's a place where there's spirits where they can survive for a season. So, see, now, can you say, substitute that word spirits for the souls of animals? Now, maybe not, because the soul ascends, right? Brethren, is not the soul that which is eternal? So there we've learned a little something. The spirit is not eternal. The soul is. Do you brethren agree with that? We learned a little something. So I think we learned a little something to start out with. We could take that, we can hold on to that now, right? That's one little thing we could take and hold on to, right? The spirit is temporal, right? And the soul is eternal. Do we agree with that? Anyway, type of one if you agree with that. Do you brethren agree with that? Time for the end of the video. Time for the soul confirmations. But let me ask y'all, can we agree on that? Cherie says, yeah. Anybody else? Is anybody else in here in the room? Are we making a correct conclusion here? The spirit is temporary. The soul is eternal, right? Is there anybody else in the room? It gives a little delay before your response shows up. See, Mahali says she's not sure. Let's read a little bit more. It says, furthermore, it describes a specific animal heaven where spirits of animals companionable to man can exist. However, unlike humans, animals do not possess the same kind of aspiration or ability to progress spiritually. The text suggests that animals are completed in the place of their dwelling and do not have the capacity to seek improvement or understanding as humans do. It says, thus, while animals do have a spirit, their role and purpose differ significantly from those of humans, who are given the capacity for growth, knowledge, and enduring life beyond physical existence. Okay, so one thing seems to be conclusive. The spirit is not eternal, but the soul is, and its capacity for learning. So the spirit is not eternal. It goes back to, even the Bible says the spirit, it says God who gave it. But the soul is what ascends forever. See, that's why we do the soul confirmations, because when we were born, and that's interesting, because the OAHSPE uses the term born into the spirit. Why wouldn't it say born into the soul? I mean, I don't want to confuse us, but I think when it says like born into the spirit, it means because we have we don't have the corporeal body anymore. But that's another question. I think one thing that we have learned tonight is that the spirit is not the soul. The soul is what goes on eternally, but the spirit is not. That's hard to understand, but we read where the spirit, it goes back to Jehovah, and the soul goes on eternally. So we ought to pick it up more and discuss, and so we can come to a really good, it's got to be studied real good, though. That was a good question, man. That was pretty damn good. You know that? You can't think you know it all, you know? I like that. You can't just sit there and think you know it all. You know, things that you always heard before. We need to learn, man, and we need to sit down. I wish we could get a big panel of brethren, a big old panel, and a brother says, well, I think this, and another brother says, well, I think that, and it's okay. I think the Creator, he wants us to flesh it out. You know what I mean? I think that he wants us to figure it out, to struggle at it, you know, to dig into it and get you out of that easy believism, make you study, to show yourself approved. It sounds like, we're on a journey to learn. You know what I mean? It sounds like we are on a journey to learn, to be prepared. Me and Elizabeth feel the same way. We don't want to go back to school, but we gotta go back. But that's cool. It seems like the Creator wants us to. You see, the brother asked a question. I thought that I had it nailed down in my mind. But as it turns out, man, we have to really think about it. I like that. All right, time for the soul confirmation. Time for the soul confirmation. That was pretty fun. You know that? That was pretty fun, man, for me. That was a lot of fun, man. See? And we could go through the scriptures, Let me see. Mahal, you said, I looked in the OAHSPE glossary. She said, but it was still unclear to me. Maybe I need to study a passage of reference. See, oh man, this is great, man. We got to dig into this, man. You can't just give a quick answer. I like that, man. That was a lot of fun. Dang. Thanks, Omian. Time for the soul confirmation. Time for the end of the video. Time for the soul confirmation. Hey, maybe next time, let me see. Tomorrow is Bible study, so there won't be no video tomorrow. I think that I can just pick it up Thursday and just do a soul. Let's just look at soul and spirit. Let's look at soul and spirit verses and see what we can learn. We don't need to go anywhere else. We could just sit here and learn. We could just let the Creator, we can just do a word study and learn our own self. I like that, man. Let's dig into it. Not just try to give quick answers. Oh man, thank you, Creator. That was a lot of fun. All right, let's do the soul confirmation. Let me see if I can give thanks to the Creator first, and then let's do the soul confirmation close video. Creator, thank you for the video. It seems like every day you teach something new, like what you want us to do, how you want us to walk. And it seems like today you seem to want to show us that we shouldn't just expect to learn something when we go over it one time, but we should spend time on something and really get it down into our spirit and our soul so that we can learn and we can add it to our being, add it to our soul. It seems like you want us to not just run over things and just go to the next thing, it seems. Whatever the case is, will you show us? Will you show me so I can learn how to conduct my program more adequately, more appropriately? The purpose of the channel is so that we brethren can get together and also so we can learn. So, Creator, we're getting ready to do the soul confirmations right now. Would you bless our efforts to infuse these soul confirmations into our being, into our soul, into our spirit? Infuse these soul confirmations into our soul and our spirit, so that when we are born into both here and now, when we're born into the spirit and now, that these things can be implemented in us. All these soul confirmations that you give us, by faith we receive these things, Creator. So also Cosmic Day, that the 25th of January, that it might represent a move where power from on high and reunification with the angels and the joining together of spiritual knowledge and earthly knowledge for the raising of the consciousness of the earth to you and away from ourselves and our own self blessing, that we go from me to we. So, Creator, thank you for the video, the learning tonight that we did, and I pray that you will give us understanding in the things that we discussed tonight. In your name, we give thanks. All right. Soul confirmation is my soul abides in serene power on the screen 3 times together on 3, then close video. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. My soul abides in serene power within the center of my mind. My soul, or again, 1, 2, 3. My soul abides in serene power within the center of my mind. Again, 1, 2, 3. My soul abides in serene power within the center of my mind. And that's it, brethren, for January 21st, 2025. The soul confirmations. Pray the Creator will manifest these things in us. Brethren, thank you for joining me. Bless my soul. I won't have anything going on tomorrow because I'll be in Bible study. But I like always, brethren, if I get something, if you see me come online like on a Wednesday or a weekend, come running, man, because I got something. You know, or the Creators are giving me something. Or if any of you brethren have something, you know, contact me and tell me to go online, and you have something. Maybe the Creator gives you brethren a word, you know. So, brethren, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. It's been an incredible pleasure and blessing, and I thank you for it. And until I see you again Thursday, brethren, bless you all. Peace, love, knowledge, wisdom to all of you, brethren, and health as well. And for any prayer requests, Creator, I pray you grant them, and that in addition, brethren will come back and testify of a response to their requests and how things have turned out. And so, brethren, until I see you again Thursday, Creator willing, peace be unto you. Shalom.